most times people are always apprehensive about interviews. But when it comes to VAWA interviews, you could take this to the bank, because I've done so many now. And I could tell you just about basically how every VAWA interview should go, right? There's always an exception. There's always those cases where maybe there's something unexpected that we didn't know. That aside, if your lawyer has done a good job, if your application was done properly, if your I-360 VAWA main application was already approved, then your interview should be solid, should be easy. You should be out of there in less than 10 minutes. And the reason I'm very sure about that is because I understand how VAWA works. And I remember, my name is VAWA Queen. So let me just put that out there. All these other people, I'm just telling you, definitely the only VAWA Queen is me. I've been educating people on VAWA for many years now, and I could just tell you that a VAWA interview is supposed to be very short, very simple. Number one, because the interviewer is not supposed to ask you any questions about your abuse much. So the abuse, the things you experienced in the marriage, those are really off topic once you get of immigration determining your moral character. That's it. That's all they're supposed to be doing when you go to the interview, is just to determine do you have any criminal issues. So at that interview, they're only supposed to be asking you questions about your criminal history, any fraud history. Are you lining up as a person? Is everything you said on the application, is it true? Does it seem to be true? That's all they're really supposed to ask you about at your VAWA interview. Okay, because remember, your main VAWA application would have already been approved at this time. So that's why I said, if everything is right, if your lawyer did a good job, if all is well with you, then your VAWA interview should be no more really than 10 minutes. And if it takes any longer than that, it's usually because either you or your lawyer didn't know about something. Maybe there was something you didn't tell your lawyer. Hint, hint. Maybe there was something you didn't tell your lawyer you did, or something in your past that you did, you forgot about, you didn't tell your lawyer, and then it comes up at the interview. That's the only way your VAWA interview is supposed to take any longer than 10 minutes. And this is coming from someone. I just went to a VAWA interview just yesterday. We're out of there again in just about or less than 10 minutes. And the only reason it took that long is because the officer had to go through all the questions on the I-45. If you ever looked at the I-45 form, it has all these questions about your past, your history, when did you enter the country, have you ever been denied admission, have you ever been arrested before, have you ever been detained before. It had all these questions. So that's the only reason it took us even up to 10 minutes. Otherwise, it would have been out of there. All right. And literally, the interviewer had no questions about my client's marriage, had no questions about whether the marriage was even a good marriage, had no questions about whether the marriage was even valid. None. The only questions that they had were just the application questions that ask things like, have you been arrested, have you been detained before, do you have any criminal issues, any fraud issues. That's it. So a VAWA interview should take you no more than 10 minutes. Again, if your lawyer has done a good job, if the application was done well, unless there's something we didn't know about, unless something you didn't tell your lawyer about, of course. Okay, that's the only way that interview should take that long. So I say this to encourage people that I've been saying USCIS is waiving a lot of interviews, but just by chance you are one of the people who are called for interviews, still nothing to worry about. Usually less than 10 minutes. And then get your green card in the mail. After that, and you'll be good to go.